In May 2017, 16 participants and 2 professors embarked to the Holy Land for 3 weeks of sightseeing and learning. Our group ranged in age from 19 to 70 years old. Most of us had never been to Israel before. We spent a few days in Jerusalem before moving on to Bethlehem, the birthplace of Jesus Christ. Bethlehem is separated from Jerusalem by a 25-foot wall and is under the purview of the Palestinian Authority. It is a friendly town that we found very welcoming. On May 15th, we attended a lecture and lunch at Bethlehem Bible College. When we finished, we discovered that there was a peaceful protest outside to recognize Nakba Day, in which the Palestinians commemorate the loss of land they experienced upon Israel's independence. People of all ages were waving the Palestinian flag. There were a lot of children present. This was taking place about 2 blocks inside the wall. On the next block closer to the wall, several Israeli police and defense force troops stood in the street. A European eyewitness told me that the protest had begun as a march to the wall, but that police had used tear gas to drive the marchers back. One of the professors from the college asked her, "Was there any rock throwing?" She replied, "No, I was in the front row of marchers, and it was mostly children." As this conversation was going on, police began to fire a few tear gas canisters into the street where the protest was taking place. My eyes began to burn a bit, but it wasn't enough to disperse the crowd, which remained peaceful. Then this happened. One member of our group, a woman in her 60s, was on her way to the gift shop at the Bible College when the attack occurred. This is her story.
Before we had gotten to any open door, all of a sudden and out of nowhere, I heard 4 or 5 very sharp, loud reports. And as soon as we heard that sound, the woman ahead of me, that was some distance ahead of me, turned around and started running our direction very fast. And all of a sudden, I knew that something was seriously wrong. And as I turned around and looked the other direction, I saw a little white cloud sitting in the air just above the courtyard of Bethlehem Bible College. So I think I put my fingers over my nose right away so that I wouldn't breathe in this tear gas. But in the next instant, all of a sudden, my eyes were just hit by this very, very stringent gas. Out of the darkness, because I had my eyes tight shut, here came a hand. And this hand directed me forward in the direction that I was going and back up the stairs into the building that was right there by the street. And at which point I began to call out and ask what should we do, because I had never been hit by tear gas before and didn't know what the proper response was and what you should or shouldn't do.
This interview was taken several weeks after we returned to the U.S. In it, she significantly underestimates her distress. Here again is the video I took. In the background, you can hear her panicked and crying. In the aftermath of the tear gas attack, tensions rose. Some of the children tried to get me to go away because I was an American. Some of the protesters started throwing rocks, and eventually others started setting tires on fire. All of this happened after the tear gas.
Pictures?
In video right now.
Video. Are there soldiers?
Yeah. There's a dude over there behind the minivan throwing rocks.
Wow.
We're Americans. Most of us had never seen a checkpoint before. As we grappled with what we'd experienced, we kept coming back to the same question. Why? Why was it necessary to gas a peaceful demonstration, unless to provoke a more violent response? Why was the Bible College targeted? Clearly this is not an isolated event. The Bethlehem Bible College gift shop sells tear gas canisters that its staff has collected on the college grounds, cleaned up and decorated as Christmas ornaments. One British missionary organization reported after its visit, quote, "Tear gas canisters litter the college grounds. It's a sad but all too familiar sight for students and staff at Bethlehem Bible College," end quote. And why were Israeli police and troops inside the wall to begin with? The Jewish family I joined for a Shabbat meal was shocked to learn that troops were inside the wall, especially since they had 2 sons serving in the army. They insisted that Israeli troops are not supposed to be there. And lastly, why does our own government continue to unconditionally support such irresponsible behavior? Events like this not only anger the Palestinian minority against Israel, but it makes them hate Americans too, since our government is Israel's most prominent supporter. How does this in any way serve the prospects of peace or our own interests?
I have a serious respect for tear gas at this moment, not having experienced that before, and there was no obvious reason for why we should have experienced tear gas in the courtyard of Bethlehem Bible College, since there was absolutely no danger coming to the Israelis from Bethlehem Bible College.
I will praise the Lord with all my heart.